Hello and welcome to Homeschool Together. Thank you for joining us. If you have a chance, head down below and hit like and subscribe and we'll get more reviews into your YouTube inbox. I know with a lot of parents, we're trying to do a lot of things. We're doing math, we're doing reading, we're doing science, we're doing social studies, we're doing all the things. And some of the things that kind of get lost off on the side are things like geography or art and music appreciation and handwriting. And that's what I'm going to be talking to you today about is the Evan-Moor Handwriting series. Now, we all have different types of writing styles. Some of you might want to do cursive, some of you might want to do print. We are doing modern manuscript, which is kind of like a print with a little bit of flair for our young ones. It's kind of how I write, it's kind of how my wife writes, so we went ahead and gravitated to that. Evan-Moor has a whole series of handwriting books, daily practice books, and I really like the idea of daily practice with handwriting. I think it's the best way to go. Just keep it going, put it on top of everything else you're doing. For me, it's like the first thing we do in the day is just do a little bit of handwriting. I slide this to my daughter when she's eating breakfast, so you do one page. Really helpful. Evan-Moor, you get this book for about less than $18. Sometimes you get it on sale for like 12 or 10 bucks. Really helpful. It covers a large range of topics. It's not just handwriting. You actually get a little bit of learning in here. You get some vocabulary, you get some content, you get poems. It's really, really creative. It covers about 36 weeks. So if you're thinking about tying this into like the school year, you can actually do that as well. So a lot of great activity in here, about 120 pages. Let's go ahead and hop into this and see what this handwriting book looks like. So this is the Daily Handwriting Practice Modern Manuscript by Evan-Moor, and it covers about 36 weeks, and it really focuses on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday activity across those 36 weeks. When we first get into the book, they do give you a lot of information here right up front. They show you a lot of the different methods, so traditional manuscript, traditional cursive, modern manuscript, and contemporary cursive. So depending on what style of handwriting you want to do, they have books that pertain to that. We are obviously doing the modern manuscript, which you can see is a print with a little bit of flair, as I like to say. We were doing Danielian before, and it's kind of gone out of print, the Danielian series that we were using. So we went ahead and found a backup to that, and that is this. Now what's really cool is in this practice, they don't just cover the letters and maybe simple words. They do colors, the animal names, sports, months, positions of words, family members, continents, money, energy. So they actually bring in outside content or other type of topics and into the act of writing. So it's not just a monotonous way of writing. There's a little bit of learning that can be involved in it as well. Help you with a little bit of spelling if that is necessary too. So as we get into here, we get into the first part. So we are expected to learn how to make our letters. So they give you nice little instructions. And you see here's how the structure works. We have the daily handwriting practice on Monday, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this book, because a lot of times this book has to be turned in order to be used. And I'll go ahead and do that here. So you can see here they indicate for Monday, they want you to go ahead and do this. Now, I didn't really just have her do just that section for Monday. Typically for me, what I'm asking her to do is a full page. Typically it's one page every single day, and a lot of times that takes about 2 days worth of activity. That's fine, because I don't really have her do this every single day, so it's a way for me to make up the missed days that might occur. So here we're starting with just very simple, the letters. And you do that for the first few pages. So as we flip it up here, I'll go ahead and adjust this as needed. So we're obviously right here, we are running through the letters. We now have copying additional letters here. And then we go ahead and get into a few words that pertain to those letters that we learned. I'm going to go ahead and slide in again, and obviously we are running through more letters. There's a little bit of review along the way as they introduce more letters. Here again, and you can see how they're breaking this up: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And if you do want to do this on a daily basis, you can. Sometimes there's some pictures as well, so if you have more of a coloring child, so they can obviously go ahead and do that as well. So if you want to actually fill in a little bit of coloring and art, this book will allow you to do that as well. Simple words that they might be able to read. Again, it's kind of reinforcing the reading as well. We have additional letters, and I'll go ahead in here and hop ahead past the letter work, and we can actually start to see very often they're asking them to copy essentially some type of text, and the text gets more and more complex and more difficult to copy. gets longer, so they have to have their letters be a little bit tighter. They have to have their font size get a little bit smaller as you move through. And we can see here that my daughter was just copying along the way. One thing that I do sometimes see her make a mistake on is that she's dropping words, or she's kind of crushing words together. So here we have ona when it should be on a. So really watching that spacing, watching the letter spacing is something that I constantly keep pushing her and reminding her. Also, we have the act of punctuation. So she missed the punctuation here, but she got it here. Also the capital letters at the beginning, so we can drive home a little bit of grammar as well. So there's a lot in here that you can do. Moving forward, we're doing colors here, so yellow, and then we have a nice little sentence that she might be able to read as well. The yellow lemons are sour. I'm doing this with my third grader. I don't see a reason why you couldn't do this with a second grader, but I think some of the words reading wise might be a little bit difficult for, say, a first grader and a kindergartner. So if you're thinking about doing this type of workbook, maybe think starting in that second grade range, I think would probably be best. I have a nice little sticky note here that really helped me keep on where I am on the book. Again, I'm a big fan of efficiencies, and bringing in sticky notes is a big thing for there. Here we're doing about colors and the color wheel. We're getting more and more complex sentences, big, sharp scissors, cut paper. Again, driving home the punctuation, so you're getting that kind of like the grammar element there as well, and obviously reading. So when my daughter would do this whole page, it would take her about 5-6 minutes to do this. And then I would actually, when she's done, I would actually ask her to read it all as a way to just, drive home that reading, get a little bit of additional reading practice as well. Continuing on, so here we have our first really larger, essentially like a poem or a statement. Here we have at school, we use tools to help us at school. We use tools to help us at school. So she's having to economize a little bit more on her writing, so it's a little bit tighter. You can see that change between here to here. You can see that has to get a little bit tighter, a little bit better. So as you move through, it gets more and more challenging, more and more difficult. And it just keeps following this type of flow. So on Fridays, there tends to be a little bit more writing. On Mondays and Tuesdays, a little bit smaller. So you can imagine if you did do this on a daily basis and you just did the one day, this could be done in maybe a minute, 2 minutes. And you can determine how many times you want them to write this. I was not a big stickler for doing it like 5 or 6 times. If you write it once and it looks decent, I'm okay with that. I am having you do this every day, so I figured with the practice you'll get this. So you can dictate to them how many times you want to do this. I think the space given, you can easily ask for twice, maybe 3 times. Yeah, about 3 times you can have that word put in there. So it's up to you on what type of repetition you want them to accomplish, but fairly straightforward. I hope that walkthrough and that little discussion about handwriting that I had helps you. This Evan-Moor daily handwriting book, we are obviously using the modern manuscript method, but you can use traditional cursive if you want as well, or print version as well. Depending on what you're looking at, I think the content is very similar. 120-ish pages, really following through that daily activity. You can really see how it's laid out in that daily manner. Great for a morning basket. Great for like the first thing you want to do in the morning. Get the hand working if you're going to do some math and maybe some reading and spelling afterwards. It's a great way to get that brain going. I love workbooks for this, covering these types of skills and these type of topics that I think are left out on some of our larger curriculums when we're making our big choices. I know my reading curriculum does not do a lot of handwriting, so it's something that I have to bolt on. If you're lucky enough to have a reading curriculum that does do a lot of handwriting, like Explode the Code or something of that nature, you can maybe forgo something like this. But for me, this is something I've had to bolt on, and I know families out there that are looking for handwriting practice as well. And not having to go through and like hunt down and figure out what to do your copy work on, having a workbook that you can just pull out and put in front of your student when they're eating their cereal in the morning, is a really easy thing to do. And I love this. I can put it in a backpack. It did not cost a lot, and we're going to get a lot of use out of here. So I hope that this review helped you make a decision on how to incorporate a little bit more handwriting into your homeschool. And I look forward to seeing you guys later.